The Board of Selectmen met in Memorial Hall Tuesday night. Much of the meeting concerned Tony Mazzucco's manager's update, in which he updated the board and the public on the reasoning behind the high number of COVID-19 cases in comparison to the state, and some uplifting news regarding donations, including a $10,000 donation from Vincent Deloria Jr., president of Vincent A. Deloria Incorporated, that will go directly to the Nord Fund. 2 public hearings were held for Little Bird events regarding their liquor license, and Rojo's Norwood requesting an application amendment to modernize their fuel tanks. The Board of Selectmen will meet again next Tuesday, April 28th. Wednesday night, the school committee met and held their annual FY21 budget public hearing. Dr. Thompson presented to the committee, and there was no public participation from the email address presented to the residents during the previous emails. Following the public hearing, Dr. Thompson briefed the committee on the Commissioner of Education's phone call about the school closure.
Part of that commissioner's phone call was that he is going to be issuing revised remote learning guidelines by the end of this week. And we want to be able to, first and foremost, make sure that our remote learning is following those guidelines and up to spec. He has talked specifically about sharing best practices across the state, which I think would be very beneficial to all of us across the state, as well as talking about the power standards, or the most important key teachings that we would have at this point in time at each grade level, and that we should really focus on those. So we're looking forward to that. We already have an administrative team meeting on Monday to start discussing some of those things. Other pieces of news out of that conference is that the 10th grade MCAS test that was canceled this year is going to be rescheduled at some point, be it next fall or mid-year. I will remind everybody that in order to get a high school diploma in Massachusetts, you have to pass that competency determination, which is the 10th grade test, and right now the science test, which we normally do in 9th grade. There's still debate on whether that will be included for those 10th graders or not, and again, waiting for final guidance on that.
Then Ms. Sheridan updated the committee on the budget, specifically the food services pay analysis, bus contracts, and the FY20 budget transfer. In old business, Dr. Thompson addressed last week's conversation about Chromebooks for the elementary level students.
There were concerns, or we received questions about, what if we had to be remote or partially remote in September, and needing more devices to accomplish that at the elementary level. Did have Joe look into that currently, and I keep using the word about, because there are a couple that have been swapped out on a daily basis, or maybe 1 or 2 that have been picked up. But currently we have about 600 Chromebooks at the elementary level that have not been distributed to families, despite multiple Connect Ed calls, despite principals calling families directly, teachers and families emailing families directly of children that might perhaps need that sort of thing. We did ask also as well, and Joe Kidd has been a spearhead on this, ensuring that families have internet access. Mr. Mazzucco was right on top of this, offering low cost or sometimes free internet, depending on the situation, until the crisis was over.
The school committee will meet again next Wednesday. The Norwood Airport Commission met virtually Thursday afternoon. This was their first meeting since the COVID-19 outbreak. The commission had several items on their agenda, including a request from Flight Level Aviation to remove some trees, a Mass DOT grant for a battery-powered lawnmower, and a request to hunt on airport property. The Conservation Commission met for the first time in several weeks in a remote setting. They had some items to discuss, including a notice of intent for a Dean Street project and a request for order of conditions for a project on Moore Street and Pleasant Street. Tony Mazzucco hopped on the call early in the meeting with Paul Halkiotis to discuss the new budgeted environmental planner position. Paul revealed some striking data that shows the town's need for a bigger conservation presence. The next meeting for the Conservation Commission will be in a few weeks. Also Thursday, the Finance Commission met virtually with a large number of items to discuss on their agenda. Following the acceptance of the minutes, the Commission began their discussion on the 2021 financial forecast based on the Budget Balancing Committee meeting. Conversation then turned to the budget of the school committee, general government, and Blue Hills Regional School. During the school committee budget discussion, the MOU between the school and Finance Commission was discussed. To end the meeting, the Commission covered the capital outlay and reserve fund transfers. The next Finance Commission meeting has not yet been scheduled. For complete government coverage, tune into the NCM Government channel or watch it on demand at nordcommunitymedia.org.